So, in the new Star Wars, in Rise of the Skywalker, there's a scene at the beginning where the Millennium Falcon is being chased by TIE fighters. And in order to escape them, the heroes use hyperspace skipping, where they go into hyperspace to get away from the bad guys. And, let's say that these are the TIE fighters, this is the First Order, and let's say that this is the Millennium Falcon. So, what happens is the Millennium Falcon travels into hyperspace, but it turns out that these TIE fighters, these new First Order ones, also have hyperdrives and can track them through hyperspace somehow with their advanced computer system. So what happens is it's a sort of hyperspace chase. I'm sorry, where our heroes are being pursued on multiple jumps to and from hyperspace by the bad guys. But that kind of doesn't follow. So if I'm the Millennium Falcon and I'm trying to get away from the TIE fighters, and let's say we're a normal distance apart, we're 10 space meters apart, whatever, units apart, right? And we're this distance apart in normal space, and then I, in the Millennium Falcon, jump to hyperspace, jump to faster or at or above light speed, right? So I enter hyperspace. If I am in the TIE fighters, I have to first notice that that the person I'm pursuing has gone into hyperspace, right? Or my computer's telling me they're about to jump into hyperspace. So I have to be mentally cognitive of the fact that they are going to jump into hyperspace. And then I have to engage my own hyperspace drive in the direction, I suppose, where they're going to be. Or where, they've entered hyperspace from. If hyperspace lanes are a thing. And let's say all of that takes me 1 second. So they're gone in hyperspace, and an entire second passes, and now I'm gone in hyperspace. Between these two events, there has been 1 second of time. So, I postulate that in order for the TIE fighter to be in a situation where they're both in hyperspace and they're now a similar, a negligible amount or the same distance apart as they were previously, that's kind of impossible. Because if an entire second passes and in that second they've suddenly gone to at or above light speed, they've covered an immeasurable amount of distance between where they are and where the TIE fighter would be when they get to hyperspace. Because they've already been traveling at light speed for as so long as a second, which is, to us very slow. But if you're going the speed of light, it, relatively, it's everything. So, it's kind of a bit hard to believe, with the spaceships and the lasers. It's a bit hard to believe that these systems on these TIE fighters could track and then engage the Millennium Falcon to be in a similar local area in hyperspace, let alone end up at the same spot at relatively the same time. Let me compare it to something that might be easier. Imagine you and Marty McFly in time-traveling DeLoreans, right? You both have DeLoreans that can time travel, get up to 88. And let's say Marty McFly has his DeLorean, and you're chasing him, or you're racing or something, or you're just playing follow the leader, and you're trying to close the gap between yourself and Marty McFly, and you're 30 feet apart. Now, Marty McFly decides, I'm going to go back in time to 87, right? I'm trying to lose him. So he goes back in time to 1987, and, oh god, that looks awful. Whatever. He goes back in time to 1987, and he ends up there. Now, let's say that we're already giving you the benefit of the doubt. You somehow know Marty McFly has just jumped to the year 1987. Or your computer in your DeLorean is linked up with the other DeLorean. Now, in the time that it would take for you to, A, get to 88 miles per hour, assuming you weren't already, and the time for your DeLorean to update and say Marty McFly has gone to 1987, let's say 10 seconds have passed. Now, that means Marty McFly has been in 1987 for 10 seconds, assuming there's no time lost, while he's physically time traveling. As soon as the DeLorean disappears here, it appears here in 1987. So, what that means is that in that time, in those 10 seconds, Marty McFly says, I'm gonna jump again to 1983. So that means that not only will there be 10 seconds minimum between you being here and you also being here in 1987, now you're here, but once you get to 1987, Marty McFly to you is gone. He's in 1983. You would have no clue where or when Marty McFly was because you just got there. And the distance, both physically and in terms of how long it's taken for Marty McFly to have already been able to be in 1987 and then change his course, has been so long, relatively, that you're now in a state where you can't locate him anymore. Or even so, if your computer in your DeLorean says now he's in 1983, you've lost so much ground and your sense of direction that you are going to lose more. Assuming you are not perfect at what you do, right? At chasing down Marty McFly. You are bound to lose more and more time because you've already taken 10 seconds to get there. Now you're here, you've broken a line of sight with him, he's gone, and before your computer takes time to update, more time's passed, more allotment where Marty McFly can say, now I'm going to change course again. It's similar to the hyperspace theory. If I were in hyperspace and just wanted to change my direction or stay in hyperspace a little bit longer or cut my time short in hyperspace, I've traveled so long at the speed of light compared to real speed or real space, normal time observable to us in space, that the people pursuing me would have a very difficult time finding out where I went, how they could chase me down somehow, and just generally closing the gap. It would be too difficult. So, you know what? What the hell?